So we had to do these interviews, but it was like with 12 different European countries and all 12 different promos with somebody from France, somebody from Spain, somebody from Italy. Well, for Kensuke Sasaki, his promo consisted of Tokyo Joe Diego, having a baseball bat and him stood there, having to stand there with his hands behind his back and his chin up, while Joe smashed him as hard as he could on the chest with a baseball bat and talked in Japanese. And I mean, smashed him.
Wow.
So it was probably half a dozen times each promo, and there was 12 of them to do. By the end of it, and Sasaki just, he's not allowed to say or do anything because he's still considered Japanese young boy, right?
Right.
He's a big, strong fella, but he's just. But I'm just like that. And I mean, as hard as he could hit him, just smashing him across the chest. There might be somebody who can find some of this out there on YouTube because it definitely exists. But he had to do it 12 times. And then there was like just welts and welts and welts. And he just, but I'm watching from the back. And after about the third or fourth interview, nothing was moving above camera level. But his knees were starting to shake. There was nothing on it, just completely stone-faced. So these are things that I've just witnessed that, like, just people, it's like you're making stuff up, right? But 12 different promos and 12 times getting smashed the hell out of with a wooden baseball bat across the chest to show how tough he was.
Jeez.
That was his promo. That was it. He just stood there. Now, me and him got on for the 5 weeks. Me and him trained together. We didn't have a great. We could get by with the language, whatever. But we were together for 5 weeks because we were both in the early 20s. So I bonded a friendship with him, and there's a lot of the stories about him where a lot of people that I know, friends of mine in Japan, who they don't get on. It's none of my business. I get on with a lot of people who don't get on with each other, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
As long as you don't do it, I don't get it's none of my business. Leave me out of it. You do it. If you don't get on, that's as long as we get on. Me and him had a bond because we spent 5 weeks together and we trained together and we laughed a lot. And we went out a lot and made the most of our time in Germany. So we've always stayed friends. In fact, he came to a WWE show in Japan and brought his sons. I think there's even a picture of me, him, and CM Punk at one point because he came to see me and he was like, he's got this image of whatever, but when he sees me, he's just all happy and hugging me and that because, again, as I've always done, I knew went from a kid who treated me right, who didn't, and I always made sure he was okay for the 5 weeks because a lot of the other fellas didn't care. So that was one of the continuation of me just being around New Japan guys. I found out later on, because of we talked about why Joe Diego used to come over. Somebody had, and I can't really go into this story,